Hi and welcome to the Outquisitions podcast, where we spotlight industry leaders redefining success. The goal of each episode of the podcast is to uncover their stories, their strategies, and insights to inspire, inform, and really elevate your own journey. So let's dive into today's conversation with yet another super inspiring guest. If you want to listen to a really interesting talk, then stay tuned. So, Matt, thank you for coming in to the podcast. Nice to meet you. And to kick things off, can you please share a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, for myself, I'm a career sales guy, so I've been at it for over 25 years now. Started as a BDR, moved into an AE role back in, God, it's going to make me sound really old, 2006. So 18 years ago was my first quota carrying role beyond being a BDR. Led sales teams for B2B, B2C, had account management roles, had transactional sales, consultative sales, worked in SaaS, not SaaS. For the last 12 years, I've worked exclusively in software as a service businesses, most notably HubSpot, where I was there not super early, but fairly early, and then led the sales and sales team at a HubSpot partner for 8 years called Rock Content before moving on to my own venture, which is now called Triple Session, which we launched about a year and a half ago. The origins there was essentially I was solving a problem that I had as the revenue leader at Rock Content, which initially was keeping my team engaged and motivated and continuously learning and developing their sales and ultimately CS abilities after we moved into customer success. I needed an on-demand platform that was light, user-friendly, measured, effectively the Duolingo of sales and CS enablement. Didn't exist, so we built it internally at Rock Content and then spun that out on its own a year and a half ago, and then eventually developed a fully integrated product that has AI call coaching, scoring, enablement, all of it sitting inside CRM.
Right. Okay. So, what's the mission then? What's the driver behind you starting this company?
Yeah, so really the origins were all about personal development. So we believe that self-improvement through daily practice should be standard for everyone. And that's a big, broad, bold, infinite game style mission. We're zeroing in again on revenue teams first, and we believe that success comes not from some giant course or some big leap forward that somebody takes, but it's really the daily habits that people embody when they look at their work, understand what they're doing well, understand where they need to improve, get feedback right away, and then just spend 10 or 15 minutes a day moving the needle little by little to get a little bit better today than they were yesterday. And stacking those days one after another eventually builds the skill muscle that people need to deliver great results and ultimately build great careers.
Right. So, who can you help and how then? This is the main question.
Yeah, so we focus mostly on SaaS sales teams, so mid-market or enterprise software as a service teams, where typically sales team will start anywhere on the low end of 10 or 20 sales execs all the way up to hundreds. And they're typically working on a consultative sales process, running calls internally. So they're using Zoom or Microsoft Teams where they're recording. And the slowdown is getting tangible feedback from a manager. Most managers who lead those teams have to jump in, listen to calls, give feedback in a very one-by-one manual way. We've automated that system using our AI tool now to actually upload a manager's brain and then give automated feedback from a manager on every call, every interaction, every time within minutes of the call closing, and then have that lead directly into coaching action items and then ongoing training action items.
Mm.
And that all syncs together with CRM performance to keep this virtual cycle of call performance, call feedback, training and coaching right back to call performance to keep the loop going.
Right. So something caught my attention. Upload the manager's brain. How do you go about that? I'm really curious.
Yeah. So there's a bit of an onboarding process that we need because AI by itself does not really have a lot of tangible, detailed, specific value for an individual. So for our customers, they all run a specific playbook inside their business. They have a unique customer that they sell to, a unique market, a unique value proposition, a unique product or service they're delivering. So we really have to understand what success looks like for each type of conversation they have with their customers. We interview them, we take surveys, we download their playbooks, and then we build custom scorecards that are used to measure each one of their customer interactions. And it's that scorecard that's effectively taken right out of the brains of the leadership team that's used to then give the feedback to their frontline teams. And it's eerie how close it sounds to the manager having written it on their own, but it's just done automatically using AI for every call.
Okay. Okay. Now, what are the some of the trends that you are noticing at the moment? You know, in this specific industry. So whether SaaS selling or just in general in the US, from more sales slash marketing point of view. You mentioned consultative selling, that you focus more on that regard. Yeah, I mean, open question. What are the trends that you notice um, on sales?
That's a timely question because we just published our 2025 trends report. We do this every year to show a picture of what we project will be the trends hitting our customer base, which effectively, again, is SaaS revenue teams,
Mm,
what they can expect for the market picture in the year ahead. We did this last year, and our projections were spot on accurate, and now we've updated them again for 2025. So when we look at these trends, really what we need to look at first is what's the data that we have today, the starting point of rep attainment. What are we seeing on the ground? And the best data that we've seen comes from RepView. They get it sourced directly from frontline sales teams. Quota attainment has been really flat to negative since Q1 of 2022. There's been a strong headwind that's been blowing in the faces of everyone in SaaS sales for going on 3 years. When we pull that back and understand what the trend looks like and where it comes from, you got to follow the money. It's like a good detective story. Why is it so hard? It's COVID is over. It's been over for several years now. It's not a COVID hangover thing. It's nothing really going on with politics. Politics globally is always in shambles. There's always something to point to. When we really start peeling back the layers, we can see that the next layer up is investment revenue. If you track when the sales productivity started to drop and flatline, it overlays completely perfectly with when investment, private equity investment, and private capital investment dropped and started to flatline as well. We pull that data from Crunchbase. They have global investment data. It came down in Q1 2022 and has not recovered. And it's also the same in many of the public markets. And what's going on there? And it's important to know, okay, well, why aren't the investors investing like before? There's just not as much money floating around, so less purchasing means less selling. And if we peel that layer back and understand where does the money come from, we have to look at, and hopefully we don't put the audience to sleep listening to this, we actually have to look at demography. The money, most private capital in the market comes from people in their late 50s, early 60s. They're making huge incomes. They have tons of money that they're earning. They've paid down most of their sucking costs out of their family because the kids are out of the house. The house's mortgage is paid down. They just have all this disposable income, but they're not retired yet. So they flood the market with their capital trying to get a return on investment. And what happened in the early 2000s to 2020 was globally the rich countries, so US, Canada, Western Europe, they had their boom of people in their late 50s to early 60s. In the US, we call it our baby boomer population. biggest population we ever had. The population coming up to replace them, Gen X, my population, is far smaller. We just don't have the numbers to replace that capital. With less capital, cost of money goes up. Cost of money goes up. There's less sloshing around. Transactions come down. And it's going to stay that way, not just for next year. It's going to stay that way for at least the next 10 years until the next big population of millennials replaces the capital. So when we look at these headwinds, it's not the natural cycle. It's not what we've been back and forth to. We got this huge boom in the market for 20 years because there were a lot of rich people in their 50s and 60s that just aren't there anymore. So we have to look at the way we work in sales and CS and just a new model completely, which focuses far more on efficiency than it does on growth.
Could you expand a little bit on that last part? So more on efficiency, less on growth.
Yeah, so from 2000 and really starting in 2010 when the capital boomed all the way through 2020 when it started to come out of the market, we had a weird year in 2021 due to COVID when there was way more money than there should have been, especially in SaaS, because it just all got concentrated into SaaS businesses. Really, if you look behind that, the music had stopped playing in 2020. But the reason why, to answer your question, why we have to look at this more efficiency, when there's less capital sloshing around in the market, there's less of it to grab. If there's less of it to grab and the cost of capital is just more expensive because interest rates are going up, borrowing is going up, investment's coming down, we have to understand there's less there. So if capital costs more, and it's going to continue to cost more, which our projection into 2025 it is, then you have to be more cash conscious. It isn't, we can get any investor to put tons of money in our business at a 20x multiple, or we can go take out a loan for 2.5% monthly payments and then be good, essentially free capital. You can spend as a business. You don't have to worry about burn because there's always some other new capital you can pull in. You don't have to be that conscious about how you're going to pay the bills. What CFOs are thinking now is revenue performance is down, so that money coming into the business, that's not what it used to be. Investment is down, so can I trust that I'm going to be able to raise a new round of funding? That I don't feel as confident about as I did a few years ago. And if I have to go to a bank and get a loan, I already know the costs of that are up because the interest rates are up. So they're all thinking, where are we going to get money from to continue growth? They look at every dollar, euro, peso, no matter what it is, they look at where it's going and how they're going to spend it. And because of that influence from the financial suite, that's impacting everything that we do on the revenue side when we look at sales and CS. And because of that, because there's just less going on, you have to do more with less. That means every great fit opportunity that you talk to in sales, you have to squeeze as much value out of every opportunity as you can. Do your absolute best to check every box, do the best work possible, because you don't know when that next opportunity is going to come. The volume has come down. And because of that, you just have to be much, much more efficient.
Right, right. Wow, makes sense. Um, so how do new customers hear about you? What's the current strategy from a marketing point of view? Is it more inbound, outbound, both at the same time?
So we've had our best success with referrals. So first, everything now is AI is shaping the game, and AI is mostly our saviors in this new environment. Because when we need to focus on efficiency due to this capital environment, AI doesn't always replace people, but it makes them much, much more efficient. You could do more with less. So that's where AI is starting to fold into the conversation. Like we use AI for prospecting in digital and prospecting on LinkedIn, things like that, where we have automation that uses AI to craft very well researched, relevant messaging, as opposed to having a full-time person that we're paying 80 grand a year to do that. But secondly, when we look at the go-to-market that we have, we're product-led in the sense that people can jump in and go to triplesession.com, start using our product. But also, we partner with a lot of agencies and businesses who are already doing business with our customer, and they reference us, they're using us, they recommend us. So we get a lot of referrals coming in because their partner or their customer base does better when they're using our product.
Mhm.
So it's a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for the business that we work with that's referring us. It's obviously a win for us. And then the end customer gets hyper efficiency because of our process of measuring everything, giving real feedback, tying everything to performance.
Right. So would you say in terms of efficiency, this is the most efficient way for you to grow and get known? That's this referral based approach when compared to let's say outbound, for example, in your case of LinkedIn, you've mentioned.
Yeah, and I mean, we balance it. We use a mix. So we run outbound campaigns, we get inbound traffic. Partners and referrals is number one for us. And again, that's
Mm.
part of the efficiency model where when we partner, we give a revenue share to the partners that we work with. So it's a variable cost, not a fixed one when we get that traffic and that opportunity coming in. And anyone who spent any time in their careers working in a demand gen function will tell you referrals convert at the absolute highest. So if you're introduced to a potential customer, you have the best chance of converting that to an opportunity. And because the lion's share of our opportunities come through that channel, our stage one to closed one conversion is really, really healthy. So we're not wasting a lot of time trying to sell to people that don't fit or have a low chance of converting into a customer. And because of that, we can stay relatively lean on our own team and really maintain that efficiency, which we not only believe in, but we practice.
Right. Okay. What are the 12-month goals now for you as the leader of your business?
Yeah, so we're fairly early stage. We only launched last year. We remodeled our product to really fit into this efficiency model just 6 months ago, and now we're starting to scale up with product market fit and grow relatively quickly. So now we're looking at hitting the $1 million ARR mark in Q1 of early next year. Once we do that, I'll likely go to the investment market again. As I mentioned, the VCs are not investing like before, but they're still investing. You just have to
Right.
be able to tell a really great story. You have to bring the data on hyper efficiency. So in Q1, if we hit our milestones, we'll not only hit the $1 million ARR mark, we'll also be profitable. And that's part of the new world order where you could just throw scads of money at growth before, and profitability was never even thought of. Now, if you can control your destiny and grow quickly, grow healthy, have healthy net dollar retention, which we do. We retain about 123% of our revenue, so we're growing with our install base as well, and do that profitably. Then you can essentially have a really compelling offer with VCs. So go to the market in Q1, close the round in Q2, and then finish next year with tripling that install base to 3 million.
Beautiful. Okay, so for anyone listening and for anyone that is interested in you and or your company and wants to get in touch, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, easiest way is to just go to triplesession.com, and right there you can create a free account and start using the tool for free. No credit card, no payment information required. Get in there and just use everything. You can request the demo. You can get online and start talking to one of our team members in sales. Get in touch with me directly on LinkedIn, Matt Boyan. I think you'll probably find I'm the only one there. It's kind of a unique name. And hit me up. Let me know if you want to chat about revenue efficiency, sales playbook, sales processes, rev ops. All of this is really top of mind. Sales enablement. Sales enablement and sales ops are going to be the two roles that are going to be so critical in this new world of efficiency. Anyone wants to talk about those roles, I'm a geek about this stuff. So love to have conversations.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for the time.
That was great. Thanks for being.
Beautiful.